it is so much more fulfilling and fun when you get to collaborate and create with others, whether it's your thing or it's, your thing together. It's just easier to start when you have another person or a couple people.
Your dreams will always require your healing, and you need to know that in order to move forward. If you feel stuck in your creativity, your art, your business, or your life, then it's essential to understand that you are being asked to heal what's in the way of you creating what you dream about. This podcast is all about the relationship between your emotional health and your creativity. I'm Courtney Lancaster, and this is the Heal Create Podcast. Welcome to another episode of the Heal Create Podcast. I am your host, Courtney, and I'm so excited to bring someone on today who I actually have not met before today. I don't think. Have we met in real life?
I don't think so.
We lived in the same city, and we know a lot of the same people, and we're both creatives, but we have not met in real life. So it's so lovely to actually meet you. Everybody, I'd like to introduce you to Lucas Sankey.
Hi, guys.
Hello. Lucas is a portrait photographer, among many other things, but that's the thing that I was so excited to talk to you about today, because your work caught my eye, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago.
Whoa.
Like when you started putting pictures of some of the leaders that I knew, and it was in ways that I hadn't seen pictures captured like that or portraits captured like that. A very like almost confronting intimacy of portraits that you almost feel like when you look at these portraits, you're like not supposed to see like that intimately into someone, but in just the right amount of the way that like really draws you in. And I hadn't seen anything like that. So that's why I was really excited to have you on.
Wow. Well, I'm honored. I didn't know that. I mean, we chatted a little bit, but that's really cool. And yeah, I've had the wonderful opportunity of capturing different people in the environment that we were part of. Are you still in Redding?
No,
okay.
We're in Orange County now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's super fun. It was a really fun season of life.
Yeah. So you didn't know that I was like stalking your work for years. That was always my dream. You used to do this thing too, where you would offer, like you would have little, like a photo booth kind of situation where it was just like a quick, like come get your portrait taken. And I think every single one of my friends has had their picture taken by you. And I could never make it to any of those. And I was always so bummed. But then I almost like at that point in my life didn't want my picture taken by you because they were so like, what's the word? Not exposing, but like they were so intimate, so good. Do you still do that?
You get seen really clearly.
Yes.
Like for wherever you are and whatever is.
Yes. Yeah.
I haven't done that because I'm in Dallas now. And so the environment and just, what's the word? Ecosystem is like overly saturated. And so that gift has taken a different shape in this season. So
What shape has it taken?
I actually set down photography unintentionally, but just did for a couple of months. Just because I moved, I'd been in California for 12 years and then did that for 12 years and built a really successful business and name for myself, and then moved here and no one knew who I was. And also it's the South and the Bible Belt and all these other things, and people just do creativity differently. So I kind of pushed pause just to kind of reset myself and figure out life, like just anchoring a little bit.
Totally. That's actually, I think, a really healthy thing to do for any creative. A lot of the times people need a lot of support, like actually moving towards their creativity. But sometimes if you've really been in it and you're in need of fresh inspiration, that's like a really healthy thing to do, is to put it down.
Yeah. Yeah, I am really fortunate to have some background with how to, well, I've had to learn the hard way, but how to not burn out, and then how to not,
Yeah.
like, my thing that I love doing isn't my identity, so I don't need it to like do life, but I do
Yeah.
enjoy it, and it does give me so much life. So I knew
Yeah.
I was like, this is too hard, and yeah. So we set
Yeah.
it down, and we've recently picked it back up, so it's been really fun. But
Yeah. Oh
mm-hmm.
yeah. So you have started again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How did you figure out your style of photography? It is different than a lot of other photography that I've seen. I know it's kind of a saturated market in a
Mm-hmm.
lot of places.
Yeah.
But I feel like you have a very unique eye and a very unique style. How did that happen? How did you feel the freedom to step into your own like avant-garde kind of intimate photography, artistic?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, initially, I started when I was 18, and I wanted to be a model, which is hilarious. And I didn't, I'm not tall. I'm not like ripped or in shape that way. So it
Yeah.
wasn't like a thing.
Yeah.
But I did
Okay.
enjoy having my picture taken or being in front of the camera. And so I got one, and then I found that I loved shooting people, like capturing them. And then um, maybe the next 3 years was just like exploratory. I was getting paid for little things here or there. And then I kind of got sick of it. Like at the end of that, like third year, I would have been 21 at the time. And I sat on my bed and I was like, I need something different. I want to do something people haven't done. What does that look like? And just started to like seek some inspiration. Um, and I am a firm believer that the Lord loves to partner with us. So I asked God, I was like, can you give me an idea no one's done? That's literally what I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
And so sat on my bed, and he was like, open Instagram. And I was like, this is not you. This is not you. He's like, open Instagram, look at the explore page. And I was like, this is not.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing that, and I see this little sketch of Cinderella with a beanie. And I was
Mm.
like, this is really interesting, huh? And I just like keep going. And then it just kind of like dawned on me of like, oh, I have friends who look like Disney characters, kind of. Or I can just kind of see people as these like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I could imagine people in different scenarios or situations or looks or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And um, that partnered with there was a lady, she's like 2 years older than me, a girl named
Yeah.
Chloe Heth.
Mm-hmm.
And she was from London, and she just hecka inspired my um, like editorial stuff. So there was like this mixture of a new idea, and like I was like, how do I put people in like scenarios and tell their story well? And then I'm super captivated by eyes and eye color,
Yes, you can
and
tell.
yeah, I'm like fascinated with people, and especially the face. And then I'm like, and it just reveals a lot about us. And
Yeah.
so anyway, that's how that kind of like shaped up of like I started doing these like more edgy shoots with friends first, because I just didn't know what I was still didn't know what I was doing. Found a makeup
Yeah.
artist who just wanted to play. She joined me, and then we created this series called Modern Day Disney. And then it started to like get some traction and attention, and there was
Yeah.
random BuzzFeed stuff. And then we were in Reading, or I was in Reading at the time, and people that I knew that were like leaders in the environment that I went to church to were like, that's cool. And I was like, is it cool enough that you do it? And, you
Yeah.
know, like I just started like, but I was more so really inspired and young and ambitious. And I was just like, I'm just going to go for it. Like, I don't have anything telling
Yeah.
me what to do. I'm not tied to anything.
Yeah.
So I just sent it. And then through, it's been, gosh, like 12, 13, 14 years, somewhere in there, of doing photography. I just realized like people tell the best stories. And for me, getting to do that with my lens, tell someone's story or tell a story that I see,
Yeah.
or I can make up is like one of the most fun, life-giving, compelling things for me to do in
Yeah.
life. So
That's amazing. I didn't
yeah.
know that was like a whole thing. The I remember seeing some of the modern day Disney stuff back then, but I didn't know that it was like a whole like season that you went through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was probably, I mean, what's hilarious is there's like 3 seasons of Disney where I did. The first one was like, I don't know what I'm doing and I don't really care. And then the second season was like some of my most favorite people that I got to like capture, which would have been like Lauren Valentin or Stephanie Gretzinger or different different people in that kind of second round.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple years later, I was like, let's do it again, and I was able to do The Little Mermaid, but I did a whole video with it. Like, there's just, it kind of kept growing bigger and bigger,
Yeah.
but I would take breaks from it and do other creative fun things, whatever. So
Yeah.
mhm.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And then what is your process for getting those like really intimate close-up portraits of people that you seem to master better than anyone that I've seen? What like how do you do that?
Like, do you have a reference of maybe an image that comes to mind or something?
Yes. I feel like I could just probably look at your Instagram and see. But like, well, okay, maybe an example would just be all of the friends that I saw that you would do the like quick portraits of them, and they would still be like so intimate. Like, do you talk to them? Do you like or do you try and forge a connection first, or do you make them think about something?
Yeah, I think when it comes to like portrait photography in general, like something that I never heard this somewhere, but I felt it from something someone said, and I don't remember who said it, so I'm not trying to take credit for this, but they didn't exactly say it, but I transposed it for myself.
Right.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
they were like, or I thought, I want to know, because again, I said I like wanted to be a model, blah, blah, blah. Whenever a camera comes out, I still kind of like clench my butt a little bit, and I'm like trying to not breathe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh no.
Yes.
And I think I would make myself get in front of the camera with friends or people and have them, like, I'd just pay friends or I wouldn't even pay them. I'd just be like, do you want to go on a shoot and take photos together?
Yeah.
And I'd put myself in front of the camera just to get empathy for other people, because I was like,
totally.
I'm like, I can't make you feel uncomfortable if I don't know what that feels like.
Right.
Or I can't make you feel comfortable. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it now is lots of, and at that time was a lot of like coaching and just kind of like asking questions and being like, do you feel so weird right now? Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't know. And it just be like, take a deep breath. I know exactly what this feels like. It's going to be over in 10 seconds. Like,
yeah.
And that's when it was like those quick shoots of like, hey, we got 5 minutes and you don't have to worry. And most of the time those people were really excited because they knew what they were doing and it was 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, what a great idea that I don't think I've ever heard before, that you put yourself in their position first to empathize with them. It's also interesting because a lot of times the dreams that you have will lead you to more aligned dreams if you would just follow them enough to see that that's not actually the thing that you want. And so like you wanting to be a model is so funny because not funny, but it's so cool because you were able to like really look at that and be like, oh, actually what I want to do is be behind the camera, or like that is not totally aligned to me.
Yeah.
And like chasing that rabbit trail actually led you to the thing.
Yeah. And in the end, I've done it now long enough that I can, if I want to or need to step in front of the camera or just want to, whatever, it's really easy for me.
Yeah.
But it was a gift to me that I didn't even know just from following it. Like you're saying, it's so right. That's so true.
Yeah, totally. I always have the experience of like feeling so I love the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And Michaela, we have our mutual friend Michaela. She just came out from Texas to do a photo shoot with me last weekend.
Oh, heck yeah.
And it was amazing. We love each other, but she's so great and I feel so comfortable with her. And she's just getting to step into my artist self now at 40 and really enjoying like being just filling out that dream that I've always had of like stepping into music and songwriting. And then like all of the visuals that go along with that are such an important part of the music story that you're telling, the brand that you're telling. And being in front of the camera is, to me, like it's an exploration of my artist self, and I love it. Sometimes I'll get the pictures back and be like, oh, I don't look as cool as I thought.
Right. I feel cool until I see, and then it's the
sometimes
self.
And then sometimes I do feel like she just sent me a couple of pictures recently and from that photo shoot, and I loved it. I felt so proud of myself for how far I've come, and I just think the power of photography in that way is incredible.
Yeah, you really do get to tell someone's story, and I love being able to reflect. I think that's why it's remained something that I love and have loved even when it was work, is because I get to reflect truth to someone by showing them the truth. And I like to, make things a little more edgy, or I like to move in a little closer, or I like to, and what that means is like just taking a closer picture. But I think that's the gift of it, is you reflect someone, whether it's fun and it's a story and you're a character, or it's, a portrait shoot for your music or whatever you're doing. It's like truth is being reflected because you're seeing something that you didn't know, or you did know, and it's just affirming or whatever.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. I feel like the thing that impresses me, the impression that I get from you is that you have fully embraced your creative identity. Like being a creative is a deep part of who you are, even if you're not doing the thing. Mm-hmm. Does that feel true?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You are like, the impression of you is such a deeply creative, like artistic artist, creative person. What was the journey to get to that point of fully embodying your creative self? Or did you feel like you always did and it was easy and natural?
It's such a good question. I think that for me, like, I didn't really, like, I grew up making the trashiest, stupid music videos with my friends.
Oh my gosh.
That's amazing. That's what I thought was like fun and funny from teenage. Like, I would just get out our point and shoot, my parents' terrible camera, and be like, we're making a music video, and they are still hiding on YouTube, and they are the ones that go viral now because they're just so atrocious, and you're like, oh
my gosh.
I loved doing what?
You had fun.
Yeah, I had so much fun. We would cry laughing. Some of the people would pee their pants. Like, it was just so fun. But I didn't really consider myself a creative. I also didn't know how to let myself, I didn't know how to let myself fully, I didn't feel limited growing up, but I also didn't know, I didn't feel like, I don't want to say encouraged. I just didn't have anyone leading me that was creative in my brain. My parents were both very practical. They're wonderful, loving people, but practical. And then, you get past 18 and find this camera, and I'm like, I like music, and I like taking pictures, and I don't know, I just want to make money. And it just kind of led me down a bunch of different paths. But I think I've probably continually hit these identity walls, I'd say, where I'm confronted by things, whether it's a limitation or a experience or something like that. And from there, seeking out what that, how to overcome that, or what I want to do now. Or I have rarely let myself stop other than to rest, which is really different than just stopping. So I've gotten confronted by my limited camera, or I don't have someone to help me film things, or I want to tell a story this way, but I'm not C.S. Lewis with $1 million. What am I doing? And then just being in different environments. I was Bethel Music's photographer for a couple of years, and that was such a beautiful season of life and fun and expansive. And then I went away and did something called the 18-inch journey, and I learned about writing and things I had never considered myself ever. And I got to explore new creative outlets, and now they've all started merging, or there's just more. And so I think, I don't know if that super answers the question, but I don't feel like I've arrived even now. I'm like excited because I have just picked up a camera again and started playing with friends only 2 weeks ago. And it was such a good time. And I made this editorial spread, and I'm like, okay, what do I want to do next? I don't know, but I want to do something. So
yeah, I think what's interesting is you seem to have never, well, I don't know. I should say a lot of what holds people back is just a very low value on creativity. And I don't know if there's like a belief of frivolity or just time wasting or whatever. I mean, I believe that your dreams will always require your healing. And so your dreams are actually leading you towards something. They're important. They're a North Star.
That's good.
But it seems like you have, for whatever reason, you didn't have to like heal beliefs that your creativity wasn't valuable, or maybe you did, but it seems like it was always a something worth chasing, something worth pursuing in your life, which is really rare and really cool.
Yeah. I mean, to speak into that a little bit, I'm like, I think like I've burned out before.
Sure.
And there have been things where I felt very limited or even kind of squashed by people or things that have been, really painful or confusing. And those have been limiting moments or things in my life, where people don't understand. And I think over the course of probably from 22 to 30, even now, especially, but those years, I was doing lots of emotional healing. Yeah. I was like seeking, like I was having panic attacks. I could not breathe in movie theaters for 2 years.
Yeah.
And I got like freedom from that and healing and whatever. But there was just a whole bunch of stuff that started coming up. And I think pursuing creativity was a big part of that process for me. I mean, I needed to address other things in my life and history, but I think creativity, one of its best sides is that it's fun. And I think fun brings us up for air out of the depths of our soul. And so it's important to be doing things like that. And
totally.
I'm a deep well, I would say. So I can just swim in the deep waters. And I have learned like, this is not where we are meant to live. Like, not
all the time. No.
Yeah. Like both and it's so important to have both and. So
yes.
I don't know if that makes some sense, but
yeah, totally. You have had a good relationship with your own creativity. It sounds like you have also had to do your own healing work as well. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. How did you navigate that deep healing work, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I mean, in very various different ways. There was a lot of like, conversations with friends and being caught in moments that were really uncomfortable with people that loved me, where I was pressed and pushed to be needy. I can't breathe in the movie theater. My hands are closing. I can't feel them. And my friend Autumn being like, hey, let's just go outside. Hey, let's go to In-N-Out. It's okay. Wait, you don't want to finish the movie with everyone else? No, I'd rather let's go to the In-N-Out and just get food. And just being like held or helped or loved, however you want to say that. But I was in this like vulnerable state of
held or helped or loved. That's it. Yeah.
I was like, I can't do anything for people in these moments. And I think that's one of my big things. I like love seeking out needs, and I don't do it without people inviting me into it, but I can see where I'm like, oh, do you need anything? And so when I became to a point where I couldn't, and I just needed people to be something for me, that was really healing when they would show up. And, and then I did therapy for a couple years, and in the 18-inch journey, which is what I like would live on because it was so formative for me. It's a discipleship is such a strong word, but it is a discipleship school where they really like walk out life with you.
Yeah.
And you're doing all these artistic, creative things because they trigger the crap out of you. And that's the point.
Yeah.
So when you're triggered, what's really going on? What are you thinking? How is that affecting you?
Yes.
How is that affecting how you react and respond to others?
Yeah.
And that whole season just, it changed everything for me.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, that's the title of this podcast, is the Heal Create podcast.
I love that.
Because your healing will always make space for more creativity, and your creativity will always bring about healing.
It's so good.
So I know. So I love that you have like an actual journey with that exact, like, it's like a one step forward, one step forward, one step forward.
Yeah.
I love that.
I had to, I don't know if this will lead us somewhere, if it matters, but a quick interesting thought was,
yeah, tell me.
I had to learn about like deconstruction and beliefs and things all over the map of life in general and faith or whatever you want. But I remember being afraid to like even think about things like that and be like, I don't, and what if, and I remember Melissa Helzer, she's the leader, one of the leaders of the school. And she just one day was like, listen, we don't choose to just, I'm going to butcher it a little bit, but I'm going to try my best. She was basically saying, don't go deconstructing just to do it, but also don't not do it. And essentially she was like, if the Holy Spirit, which is what she referenced, she's like, he will lead you to deconstruct things, but also in that he will lead you to reconstruct things.
Yes.
And it's important that we're not just breaking things down and not building
demolition.
Things. Right. Because then we leave with nothing and then our lives suck and then we're...
I know. I've been there.
Yep. So that changed my life and gave me space to kind of, I wouldn't say finish, but that season of life from panic and anxiety and not knowing what I'm doing and who am I to, oh, this is a really good tool to like move forward. So
yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, your story is so similar to mine in that way. And deconstruction was it was like the most important thing that ever happened to me. I was like born and raised in conservative Christian church, and to not deconstruct that would have been the death of me.
Yeah. Chokehold.
Yeah, totally. But to stay there would have been just as deadly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I and to be on the side, I don't know what you feel like on the other side of deconstruction, reconstruction, but there's so many things that I'm like, just like, I don't know. Like, I just know him. I just know God. And the fruit of my life is it's so much healthier.
I think I've given the Lord permission in my life to be like, when he sees something or I'm seeing something, but especially if he does, to like just speak plainly to me. I've like asked him to speak plainly, so that way I don't have to like whatever, but I will respond to it. So I feel like I'm constantly deconstructing stuff still and reconstructing stuff. But yes, that is very true. But I do feel like the terror season of it was like really difficult, challenging, but really important. At this point, yes, absolutely. We're always like outgrowing old beliefs and upgrading and all of that stuff. But that's good.
Does that feel true?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
So I would love to know, what are you doing now? I saw something on Instagram about collaborations that you're doing. Is that the editorial project that you talked about? Mm-hmm. So you're like, you took a break and you're ready to jump back in. Mm-hmm. So what does that look like? I
think, like, I titled that project Collaborate because I was like, I just haven't been in the studio or played with people in a long time. If I've been doing little photography here or there, it was for other people and not for myself. And I was like, I just need to have a couple hours and just invite a few friends in and just see what happens. Not really an agenda, bring a bunch of outfits. Hopefully we get some cool portraits, but just see what happens. And so I called it Project Collaborate because that's all it was. We were passing around the camera. We were whatever. I was directing a bunch of it, but it was just like play and fun. And in the end, I was like, these are sick. And I think, I don't know, I felt like I saw pictures from myself that I was like, I haven't seen this style of editorial. Even I used a lot of like magazine style inspiration for like words and stuff on the pictures, which I don't normally do. I like the people to speak for the picture, but I was just playing, and a dream of mine is to shoot for a magazine. Like, I want to have a magazine cover or a couple under my belt one day. So
heck yeah.
I've just been playing in that regard. And and then another thing, like, I didn't say this earlier, but I'm a huge proponent of investing in your craft, and not just like, oh, I need a camera. But like,
not just money.
And
tech gear.
Yeah, I would say like it is money, but it's more of like I buy props, or I will buy everyone that comes on the shoot coffee, even if it's just for fun and they get cool photos, or I will buy, like, I will pay for the clothing that you're going to wear in this shoot, even if it's just an idea or like whatever. And it doesn't go into anything, but it is so fun for me. And then I have these, I don't have them here, but I had like 10 dresses in California that I was like, why do I have these? But they're from photo shoots where I bought the clothes.
I see.
And then, you know, if the model didn't want it, or for whatever reason I thought I'd use it again, I'd just keep it. But I've just invested a lot of money into things that don't really seem like they go anywhere, but it's so worth it, and it makes it more valuable.
Yes. So you're investing your resources into making excellent things, and you're also practicing generosity in the creative process when you collaborate.
Yeah, and it's just fun. So I rented the studio, and I was like, just come and show up and play. And like, that's an investment for me. And I think that is an important piece. People are like, where does all of this ever go? Like, how do you benefit? I'm like, I just benefit because I get to do it, because I get to see
love that
something
so much.
So yeah.
One of the lessons that I learned, I had a music industry mentor this year. And one of the biggest takeaways that I had was to protect your artist's self from having to make money with their creativity. And I was like, that blew my mind, because I didn't realize how much I was trying to figure out how to make money with my art and music. And that was just this huge mountain I had no idea how to climb. So I was like cutting myself off before I could even start. And instead it's like this, so what it actually is this like soft, like part of me that is just learning to like stretch her wings, and she needs none of that pressure.
Yeah.
She needs none of it. I know. And then it like allows the like that part of you to like rise up in her defense and make money so that she can be free.
Yes.
You know?
Isn't it funny how it's hard to like value those things when they're not there yet, or
yes,
you know, when they're not. We get so good at things as we get older. We get so arriving at different things, and then it's like, oh, maybe I want to start a podcast, but it has to have this and this and this and this and this. Ugh. And then those are the things that just cut you at the throat. Yep. You never end up doing it. Or I want to be a photographer, but like, or just get a camera and maybe do this, and then you're just like, but I don't have $2,000, and if it doesn't,
I know.
Cutting ourselves.
It's actually
off.
A very brilliant way to protect yourself from doing anything.
Yeah.
It's actually really, really smart. If I was trying to keep you from creating because I thought it was dangerous for some reason, I can't think of a better argument than it has to be perfect. You don't have the resources. You don't have the money.
Yeah. You know? That makes so much sense. That's good.
So I'm wondering, do you have any advice for aspiring creatives or artists? Any encouragement if you met your younger self kind of struggling through it?
Yeah, I do. If I look back at myself, something that I loved was that I didn't have to draw a ton of inspiration to just start doing things. I just kind of just started doing stuff. And I'm proud of younger Lucas for that, where he didn't really measure himself. Like, I didn't really measure myself up to and it's turned a little bit funny, but I like don't know a ton of photographers or a ton of like these big name people, because I enjoy seeing people's work and I do recognize them and their names, but I didn't measure something up. I would get inspired and then I just move on and try and do it really, not quickly, but I'd just go for it and just be like, this can be whatever. And I think sometimes inspiration can create the comparison seed, and it just kind of cuts you right before you start, because you're like, well, what if, and it's not going to be, actually, never mind, I don't want to try. And I'm like, just try it. Just do you. Just do it and just see what happens. And I think what's really fun about my story is I didn't really do anything alone. Not that you can't, but it's so much better going with people and just having some, whether they're in stuff or a part of stuff or just with you. Like, even now I pay second shooters to come to weddings just to be there. Like, I don't need
just
them.
For the company.
Yeah, just for the company, because it's so... And even if you're an introvert or whatever type of personality you have, it's just good to have other people you trust around you to support you and be excited for you, and or do it with you and help build it. Like, I've learned that going alone, you can have really cool things and it is awesome and it's not bad, but it is so much more fulfilling and fun when you get to collaborate and create with others, whether it's your thing or it's, your thing together. It's just easier to start when you have another person or a couple people.
Yeah, that's such good advice.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And I would say also, like, don't worry about what other people have to say. You don't have to think about, you don't have to hear their voices. And if you start hearing other thoughts, like people, like you can imagine people saying things, just try to stop that before you do anything. Like, just who cares? Yeah. And
it's just a projection.
It's just a projection. And maybe they will, or maybe they won't, and they'll surprise you or whatever, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's just you doing stuff that's so fulfilling, like trying and whatever. But
totally agree with you. Well, thank you so much for coming. How can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Lucas Sankey, at Lucas Sankey, I think, if you do the @ sign. I don't know how.
Yeah.
I'm a little out of touch.
Lucas Sankey.
Lucas Sankey. And then I have a website, and it's lucassankey.com. And
perfect.
I think that's it.
You're not a TikTok star?
I have TikTok, but it is literally only a video of my brother, and I bought him the wrong size pants for a wedding. And it looks like he's wearing tan leggings, and it's so bad, but I had to put it on TikTok. So I watch TikTok, but you'll be like, what the? Yeah. Because I'm crying laughing in the video, filming him from like top to bottom. And that's all my TikTok kids right now.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So Instagram at Lucas Sankey or your website. Oh, so lovely to have you, and so wonderful.
Thanks for having me.
To you. Of course.
So fun.
Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Heal Create podcast. If you have enjoyed this podcast at all, we would love if you would subscribe, rate it, send it to your friends. That would really help us get this message out, this message of empowering people towards emotionally sustainable creativity. Also, we have a PDF for you. So there's an exercise that I created called inspiration mirroring. And basically, it is for those that are looking to get acquainted with their authentic, truest self, based on the idea that whatever inspires you embodies your potential. And so if you want to get started on that journey today of really understanding who you are at your core, the person that you hope you are, then you can go to the link in my bio on Instagram or go to my website and download that PDF. I think that's all. Have a beautiful day.